Hey, my name is Shelly, and this is my June wrap-up. I keep saying this over and over again, but time is going by too fast. This year is going by too fast. I can't believe it's like the end of the midway through the year, so now we're starting the second part of the year, and this is crazy to me. But it's summer, so who can complain about that? June was a very interesting month. I took a little bit of a break from YouTube, like YouTube watching and making content, to focus on my family because we've had really bad colds that has just taken out our entire month. So when I'm sick, I don't like to read, and I got really into Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Like really hardcore into it. I'm still like in the middle of it, loving it. So obviously that ate in a little bit of my reading time towards the end of the June, but luckily I got some good reading in the beginning of June, so let's talk about that. So the first book I want to talk about is The Final Strife by Sarah L. Arifi. I'm so sorry, but I'm really terrible at pronouncing it names. I try, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, so this book, it took me a really long time to figure out my full feelings regarding this book. The first, I would say, about 150 pages were like 5-star read. I loved it. The world building was so ridiculously good, and I went in kind of blind, not knowing much about the world, and I think that that is the best way to go because the world is very unique, and I really appreciated everything about it. And like the mystery too. There's like a big mystery in this, and I loved that. The middle part of the book was probably about a 3-star for me. One, I felt like it dragged too long, and two, it was a competition-themed plot, and I'm not big on competitions. Sometimes they work, most of the time they don't. In this particular incident, I was okay on it. I didn't hate it, I didn't love it, I was okay on it. But the last, I would say about 150 pages, because this is quite a chunky book, the last 150 pages of the book were about 4 stars, so I really liked the direction that it went. I liked the ending. I'm excited to continue on with this series. I do have to say, if you're a character-driven reader, this may not be the book for you because the main POVs, I think we're following 3 POVs, they are not likable characters. They're very flawed. They do a lot of annoying things. Sometimes you just want to reach into the page and shake them because they're just making the stupidest, most selfish decisions. But because of their situation and their culture and the way that everything is, because there's slavery heavily woven through these pages, it's kind of understandable. There is heavy topics of drug abuse and drug addiction and the consequences of that. Also, there's a heavy topic of children soldiers. If those topics trigger you, then maybe take caution in picking up this book. But overall, I really liked it. I think I'm probably going to leave it at like maybe 3.75 to 4 stars. I haven't quite decided, even though I did finish this at the beginning of the month. I'm still thinking about it. But yeah, I did enjoy it. And yeah, so this is in no particular order because I think I finished this midway through the month. But the next book I would like to talk about is Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. I forgot his name for a second. This book, so I did something stupid. Okay, so on Book Outlet, they have all of Jeff Vandermeer's like books, and as you can see, they're right there. I really like the covers of these books, so obviously I grabbed a bunch of them, even though I haven't read anything from Jeff Vandermeer. The only thing that I have is I've watched the movie that this book is based off of, which I really enjoyed. The problem though is that these two, the book and the movie, are similar but different. It's not page by page, but the general concept, the idea of the movie and the book are similar. But what happens in the pages doesn't necessarily happen in the movie, or it's kind of out of order, or it's different character. It's different. I do have to say that I liked what happened in this book and how it ended compared to the movie. But I liked the movie for the visuals, because the visualization of the world that we are introduced into was very unique, very creepy. You felt the creep more than you did in the book. But because I watched the movie and read the book, and now those two mediums are kind of like intermingling, and it's obscuring my thoughts and final thoughts on this book. So I have to continue on with the series before I really know how I feel about it. But overall, this is a really interesting, weird book. It's first-person narrative, which kind of also doesn't work for me as well. And I don't want to say what it's about because I feel going in a little bit blind is probably better. But if you like sci-fi kind of horror, sci-fi horror with a little bit of a scientific twist, I highly recommend checking this out. Also, if you like to go into books not knowing what the hell is going on, I highly recommend it. Plus, it's a short read. So, I think I gave this about the same, 3.5 to 4 stars. The next book I want to talk about is The Voice of War by Zach Argyle. This is a reread for me, and we did a buddy read on my Discord. I was kind of hoping to continue on with the rest of the series in Discord, but we all kind of felt similarly about this book. We liked it, we didn't love it. The thing is about this book, it has a lot of potential, but it just kind of fell short. I really liked the world, I really liked the characters, I really liked the plot line and everything like that, but it just felt short. Like, I guess it's more of it's a compliment because I wanted more. I wanted more of a backstory, I wanted more character building, and yeah, but this is a fairly short book, so because of that short page count, obviously you can't have all that. But I think that if it did have all that, it would be a 5-star read. The other thing that we all kind of agreed on was that it was very similar to Mistborn and Stormlight. The world, the way that the magic is very Mistborn, but the magic itself is very Stormlight. It kind of brought us out of the story a little bit. And the other thing that I want to mention is I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook narrator just really didn't work for me. The audiobook narrator has a beautiful voice. I don't know why I said beautiful, funny. It's like velvet. But the fluctuation and the execution just really missed the mark for me. I know that a lot of people do enjoy the audiobook, so I mean, take that as you will. If you do love Mistborn and Stormlight and are looking for something similar, I highly recommend this series. It is a trilogy, is completed. But overall, I think I actually gave this 3 stars, and the first time I read it, I actually gave it 4 stars, so it kind of went down in my star rating since I read it. So I'm kind of bummed about that. If I continue, I will definitely be continuing the physical and skip the audiobook. And they're quite short, so it's not much of a commitment. So the next book is a manga series, and I started this when I started getting sick because I just needed something poppy corn and candy and superficial, and Yakuza Fiance that's what it is. It is super superficial and problematic and dramatic, and I freaking loved it. I actually read all the volumes that are available in English. I think it's 8 volumes. So I read through the entire series, and it was what the doctor ordered, basically. We are following this young girl who is the granddaughter of a Yakuza leader somewhere in Japan, and then she gets arranged marriage to this young guy here who is the grandson of another Yakuza leader in Tokyo. So she goes to live with her fiance in Tokyo to get to know each other, and at first it's all great and he's like a sweetie and everything's going great, but then you soon find out that he's like a freaking psychopath, but she is also kind of crazy too. So the two of them together, they just have like the most toxic relationship, but I loved it and it was so fun. It's funny and dramatic and over the top and ridiculous, and yeah, I loved it. It was fun, and that's what I needed at the time. So I don't really rate manga, but it was good. Not 2 thumbs up, it was 1 thumb up. So the next book I want to talk about, I'm so happy that I read, and that is None of the Ninth by Tenzin Miura. I love this book. Right off the bat, 5 stars. This book was so weird and messed up, and this series is so weird and messed up and really hard to follow. Tenzin Miura definitely has a distinct writing style where she purposely leaves the reader in the dark. She purposely slowly spoon feeds you world building information, and it's up for you to pick up all the pieces and put together in a puzzle, which some people hate, I get, but some people love, and I loved that. I loved kind of being left in the dark and being like, what is happening, what is going on, to the point where you just have to accept that maybe you're not going to get all the answers and maybe you're going to be confused. But what made this book for me is, one, Tenzin Miura's writing style. I love her dialogue, I love her character, the witty banter, the way that she words things is just so incredible. I don't tab books, and I tabbed this book. And another thing is Nona, the character. She is just the sweetest, cutest little, I just want to eat her up. She's just so adorable, and I loved following this story through her eyes because it It was so special. The other thing that I loved about this book is Moira Quirk, my favorite audiobook narrator, narrated the audiobook, and I highly recommend checking it out because it is so good. In like a conversation that was just continuous conversation, she would switch voices and you would know who was talking. That's how good she is. So obviously 5 stars. I highly recommend it. I will be rereading the entire series before the 4th book comes out in 2025. I'm not sure when it comes out, but I will be doing a reread of the entire series all over again because I love it. And yeah, I love it. Like, I love it. I just can't say anything else about it. Best book of the month. So the next book I want to talk about is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I hope I said that right. So I don't really consume contemporary romance. If I do, it's usually via like K-dramas. I kind of don't like American rom-com TV shows, if that makes sense. Like stuff like Gilmore Girls. I don't like that stuff. I don't know why. There's something different about it that compared to K-dramas. I don't know what it is. I cannot explain it, but it's different. Cultural thing, maybe. This is very much like Gilmore Girls, except there's no teenagers in this, and it is about a very privileged young woman who is a doctor who meets a younger, like, carpenter that lives in a rural town in, I can't remember, near Rochester. So, you know, obviously we've got the rich girl, poor guy kind of thing going on here. Although I sympathize with the main character's like family life because it was very similar to my family life. Mine is not from a family of rich doctors. But the choices that she made through this entire book, I couldn't agree with it. Like, she did some horrible things to this man, the sweet donut of a man, although he's like super hot and pumped and got tattoos and just like, you know, my heart. It is written by both of their perspectives, so we do follow both of their POVs, and I just really, really struggled with hers. Like, I just couldn't. I liked his, but I struggled with hers. So because of that, I gave this 3 stars. I may continue on with this series because it is a bunch of standalones that are connected through different characters. Like, the same characters will kind of pop in and out of each book. So that really interests me, but as it stands, I'm not really in a rush to continue on, and I don't think you really need to be in a rush because, I mean, it's not like you have to remember really anything. So the last book I finished a couple days ago is Magic Slays by Loda Anders. This is the 5th book in the Kate Daniels series. It is an urban fantasy post-apocalyptic series that is, I believe the first one is 10 books, and there are spin-off series and continuation series, so there's a lot to read, and I'm so glad that I love this book. I can't say much about this plot because it is the 5th in the series, but I love it. I'm listening to the graphic audio right now, which is essentially you have a bunch of narrators and there's sound effects and music. It's like listening to a movie with your eyes closed. The sound effects and the music are a bit corny and kind of cheesy, but that's okay because the audiobook narrators just really bring the story to life and bring the characters to life. I love Kate Daniels because, like, she's not perfect. She is not, and she knows it. Like, she'll be fighting and she'll slip and fall on her ass and she'll be like, oh, my ass. She's not, like, amazing at everything, and she's got personality issues, which she fully accepts and understands. And there's a lot. She's very human. I have been gushing about the series for like 2 months now, to the point where I got my friend V hooked, and she blew through the first like 4 books, and then we read this together. We started it together, and she read it so quickly that I had to slowly catch up to her. It's been such a great experience, and I'm so happy that I actually got somebody hooked onto a book series with me. It's more fun reading it with somebody else. I will be continuing on with the series, and I actually hope to finish it by the end of the summer. So I have 4 books to go. I think that's completely doable since they're so bingeable. But unfortunately, the graphic audio is not, like, I think we read past where the graphic audio is available, so we can just listen to regular audiobooks or, you know, read with our eyeballs. I highly recommend this series if you like urban fantasy or even like regular romantic fantasy, that you're just kind of looking for something a little bit different. Please check this out. So that was my June wrap up. All of my socials are down below, including my Discord. Come check it out. If you made it to the end of the video, please leave a beach emoji, just to let me know that you're there. If you like this video, please think about liking and subscribing. It really helps the channel grow. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a fabulous day. Bye!